3, 2, 1.
Why, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Quality Antics podcast. On this episode, we have a special guest, Petrina Chai. Now, I had never really met or sat down with her before this interview / podcast, so it was actually really informative for me, but it was just really interesting to see what Petrina's up to. She was an amazingly lovely person, great to talk to, and she's doing some great things. So let's dive into it. Welcome to the Quality Antics podcast. So good to have you here in the headquarters this afternoon.
Headquarters, very cool.
Let's kickstart it just by introducing yourself to the podcast community out there. Tell us who you are and what you're up to.
My name is Petrina Chai. I am an events coordinator. I am also kind of like a walking Rolodex of Christchurch, or I like to think. So I just spend my days doing random stuff, reading about things and organising events. Pretty
Cool.
much.
What kind of events do you organise? Like, give us an example, maybe.
I started out doing community events. So I started out with the Christchurch Arts Festival. What else is there? Loads. I was involved with TEDx when I first came to Christchurch and things like that. And now I work for the National Telehealth Service, so I make sure that our brands and our services are placed at the right events. So it could be a GP conference, it could be Polyfest, Pacifica. We actually had all of the artists on the rock stage at Homegrown wear our 1737 badges, and they all gave a really huge shout out. So that was really awesome.
Wicked. How did you manage that?
I'm friends with Emma Cameron from Decades.
Oh, big shout out from Emma to Emma.
Emma
early.
is so brilliant,
Yeah.
and she has been the driving force behind this because she's so passionate about mental health and she likes what we do. So
Cool.
she's just helped spread that message really well.
Yeah. I only saw a little bit of her homegrown like photos and things, but then what was I see she wore like a full suit
Leotard.
thing. Yeah, the leotard.
I think that was the finale of their show. So they played the show with the leotards underneath, and she had to really convince the rest of the band members to go for it.
Yeah.
So she just ordered them, and so at the end of the last song, which was their latest, what was it? I can't remember what the song's called, but it was a really, really bloody good tune.
Yeah.
And they just strip down and they just start playing their leotards because it's what they do in the video clip.
Oh, okay, cool.
Very, very cool.
So she's like, let's do it on stage at home.
Yeah.
Epic.
She did very well. I think
Yeah.
she also did like a Cranberries cover
Cool.
of Zombie. It was very well received.
Yeah, she would.
I didn't go. I don't know.
She'd do that well, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So events. What else? You said about the Rolodex. Why Christchurch? What's your Christchurch story? Like, were you... have you always been a Christchurch fan? Have you lived somewhere else?
Yeah. So I came over to New Zealand 14 years ago. Originally stopped off in Wellington, did 1 year of high school in Wellington, then went down to Dunedin for 4 years for uni. Didn't really know what was up. Came out of uni, got told by the dean that, what can I do with this? He's like, you're really good at reading and writing. I'm like, I could do that when I was 10. So I followed my boyfriend at the time to Christchurch. Don't tell my father this, but it is the truth. I came to Christchurch for a boy. I said, I really needed to do this events course. I'm so good at events because I've been doing family events my whole life.
Yeah.
And I said, the best course, obviously. My dad was like, what about Auckland? Auckland would be great. I was like, no, Christchurch. Christchurch is the best place to do this course. So I ended up in Christchurch, and I hated it. I really hated it when I first moved here. And then I started, because I didn't know anybody, and boyfriend wasn't great. So...
He disappeared, and so you were stuck in Christchurch, and you're like,
Yeah,
damn.
I also lived on Nursery Road, and it was quite scary at the time. You know, one morning you're walking to Polytech and you see the armed defender squad. Okay, miss, you're going to have to turn around now. I'm like, but why are you carrying a gun? I just want to go to school.
Yeah.
And so I started to eventually find my feet, and then I absolutely fell in love with Christchurch. And when I did, then the earthquakes happened. And I think I've now got some kind of like weird Stockholm syndrome where I'm just like, I can't leave. There's so much going on, and there is so much going on, and I adore Christchurch. I don't ever really get bored.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So when the earthquakes happened, had you finished study by that stage, and when you were living, were you affected at all by like, was your house affected or anything like that in the whole thing?
Ever.
Oh, really?
All right. So the first earthquakes, I went to bed in the middle of the room. I woke up by my bed was by the window, and then bricks were crashing down, and
Whoa.
I ran to my flatmate's room. He was naked and he was trying to crawl under the bed.
No.
I'm sorry, Jared.
Why was he naked?
I don't know.
Just
He
because
was
he-
probably sleeping naked,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was the most hilarious thing. But we were terrified, and we tried to open the door, and we were stuck in, so we were knocking on the door trying to get people to get us out.
Wow.
And I was in between two flats, and I had to pay rent at two places at the time, which sucked. And then the February earthquakes. What happened in the February earthquakes? Oh, I had moved into a good place by that point. And that's when I got involved with. I started my own volunteer organisation called the Comfort for Christchurch. So we had about 1,000 volunteers at our disposal, and we had help coming from Australia all the way through from the Great Wellington Bake Off. We had Andrew and the boys drive up to our HQ and drop off baked goods, and so we would redistribute it. And so we called ourselves Comfort Crusaders. So we go out and we deliver comfort and food, and we'd have these special packs, so people would call in. We work closely with Sam from the Student Volunteer Army as well, and so we'd log calls, and they'd say, okay, we need to do delivery in these areas, and we've got one pack going to some elderly people, this one's for a family with kids, or this one's a pregnant mom, so we'll make sure they have kind of all the basics
What
that they need.
Yeah.
So that was really, really fun, and then that ended, because obviously things died down.
Yeah.
A little bit of drama, but we don't really talk about that anymore. But yeah, so that's kind of like my Christchurch earthquake story.
Yeah.
And since then,
And since then, you've kind of pivoted, and where are you working now, and how's that all going?
Now I'm working for the National Telehealth Service. We run most of the major health lines, including Healthline, the Depression Hotline, the Lowdown. We run a diving hotline, 1737, which is the new front door to the National Mental Health and Addiction Services. We also run a new service called Safe to Talk, which is about sexual violence, elder abuse response service. I'm not really a spokesperson for the National Telehealth Service, but I really love my job because when I'm in the office, I'm based in the call centre, and you listen to a lot of the phone calls that come through and the things that people are saying. Sometimes it's very harrowing, and sometimes, I just know that the level of care that is being delivered is very, very high. And I really appreciate the work that they do, because I've used the services myself. Like, I text 1737 because I have all sorts of problems. I suffer from depression, anxiety, and getting over an eating disorder. So I'll text 1737 when I'm really down, and they'll text you back. The timing is pretty good. And if I need to go into a meeting, or if they need to go into a call, they'll text and say, hey Petrina, I need to go and take a call. I'll be right back. Are you sure you're going to be okay? And so that's what drives my passion to make sure people know about the service, because obviously all you hear and see about in the news today is how the mental health system is failing us, how there's not enough help out there, but there is help. People don't really know about it, and we're just all about making sure people know that the service is out there, and it will make a difference, even if it is a tiny difference. So when you're feeling really, really crap, even if you're just lonely and you have no one to talk to, it's free to call and text. So it's a pretty cool service.
Yeah.
So that's only one of our services. So I also run like Healthline, Poisons line, and like I said, the diving line, which I don't
What's
know
the diving line about?
I'm not really sure myself. I think it's specifically to do with diving related issues. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, if you are about to dive, do you call, or is it if you see someone who is, I don't know.
It could be like if you're suffering from the bends and stuff, or say if you, maybe like you say, if you go and you're going to go on a dive, you could call and ask for advice. I can double check that for you.
Yeah, interesting. The big battle there that you're talking about with getting in touch with the youth of today, and making sure they're aware of the services that you're offering.
Yeah.
Man, that must be tough, because as a high school teacher from a few years ago, it's like you can see them in these dark places, and they can take themselves there pretty damn quickly through social media and fueling that fire, and they're kind of like, I am alone, maybe no one is talking to me, or no one liked my photo or whatever, and then that can plant some certain seed, and if they feel like they've got no one to talk to a bazillion things that happens in young people's lives that can be pretty daunting, but it must be a hard battle to make sure everyone's aware of what's out there and know that they can call and be heard or text and whatnot.
Well, I guess that's my job. It's to create that awareness. So we were recently at Pacifica, which was awesome. We had a photo booth, and we had this beautiful wall of hope. So it was just a wall, and we got anybody who came through to the photo booth. We said, hey, write a message for someone who is suffering. Or we'd have some younger kids come through, and we'd say, okay, who's your best friend? Think about if your best friend said, what would you say to them? And some of the messages that came through were so beautiful. Yeah. So we've got that on display in our Auckland office. I've got a few pictures of it. It's just so stunning to see the level of care that people are willing to give to support someone. And I believe, even seeing something like that, a wall of hope where a stranger is saying, hey, it's going to be okay, that's really good. And then they're going to go away and tell someone, or they'll give our card to a friend and say, hey, if you're not okay, you can text or call this number. And so that's how it spread. So Pacifica was about 60, 70,000. Homegrown was about 21,000 people. So it's just trying to get it through the community. It's a little bit harder, but we're also trying to make GPs and other people aware about it. So it's going quite well. I think it's going well. Obviously, it's my job.
Cool. Yeah. So there's probably more to you than just the job that you're currently pursuing. What else, if someone wants to know a little bit more about you, what are you into? What are your hobbies? What are your interests?
My hobbies. I love cooking.
Cool. Yeah, you're a bit of a foodie.
I love cooking. I love eating. I love stalking. I love looking at pictures of food on Instagram. Yeah. And that's how I met like half of the people that I know in Christchurch. Okay. So I stalked Monique, who's running the Christchurch foodie account, and I just reached out to her, and then we went for lunch, and I was like, you're stuck with me forever now, mate. Yeah. So I think that's how I found you as well. I stalked you on Instagram, and I was like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. Yeah, let's hang out.
Just a couple of DMs, and we're like, this chick seems cool.
We're all best friends now. I love social media. Yep. I really love wine a lot. Okay. Don't tell my parents.
What are we talking here? So is it like, do you love wine for like, oh, it's been a big day, I need some wine? Or is it like...
I just love the taste. Okay. I appreciate wine, I appreciate good wine, I appreciate the taste, and it's just delicious. And also, when you've had a really long day, a glass of wine is just beautiful. What do you recommend? Like, what's the drop that you're like loving at the moment? Okay, so for the rosé... At the moment, I am just kind of going off the whites and into the reds. Okay. So for a rosé, is that a summer-winter thing? Does that happen? Or reds are better in colder temperature, or no? I prefer it. I would drink any wine anytime. Okay. Let's be perfectly honest. But I do tend to stick to the whites and the pinks in summer, and then migrate on to the darker reds. So you can't really go wrong with the Ned Pinot Rosé or the Roaring Meg one, but the Ned one is a good price point. Then with, oh my gosh, there's a really beautiful Canterbury wine called Terrace Edge, and they do a wonderful Syrah. Okay. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful Syrah. It's got this like really beautiful peppery note, and it just catches you off guard. You're like, oh my gosh, I can taste that pepper, and that's actually one of my favorites. Okay. Yeah. That's the one. Oh, Man o' War as well, but they're a Waiheke Island one. Oh, okay. A little bit expensive. Have you been to Waiheke? No, every time I'm in Auckland and people are like, oh, we're going to go to Waiheke tomorrow. I'm like, oh shit, I have to fly home tomorrow. Why did you not tell me? You just, assume they'd be coming out for a concert, you spend another day. I'm like, some of us need to work, okay? Yeah, some of us are getting back to it. Yeah, Waiheke sounds like a cool little place to like zip around, and if you're a whiny, gosh, like it'd be a little haven. I would probably stumble around the island, let's be honest. Stumble being the operative word. You're not driving my scooter, that's what I can say. We ain't driving. No driving. Not even. I don't know if we could even do like bikes. Because if you are operating a bike, also if you're like riding a bike when you're drunk, you can get done for DUI. Yeah. Let that in my first year of law school. That's pretty much all I learned. Okay. I thought from experience. I was like, no. I learned that on a Thursday night. I don't have a bike. Oh, gold. So going back to your food obsession, if you were going out to eat in Christchurch,
What are some of the places that you've come across that you've been like, this is a bit of all right, I'm kind of liking the vibe or liking the food? If you were to go out for a brunch, let's start you with a brunch, for example, where would you go?
I don't really like brunch.
What?
I know. I just feel
out.
like brunch is kind of... You'd have to really be in the mood for it.
Okay.
There's a few places that do quite well for brunch. I would say Under the Red Veranda, Uncommon's really good. Unknown Chapter have massive portions, really awesome food. But I'm also Asian, so I'm happy to have like fried rice for breakfast. So I also really love Little Hai.
Yeah.
So say brunch. Brunch isn't really my cup of tea, but
you just listed like 4 places, so great. Let's move on from brunch then.
All right.
What lunch or dinner then? Where are the places that you?
Okay. So like classic, a really good classic food. You can't go wrong. Great food, great service. Fox and Ferret.
Oh, okay.
Can't ever go wrong. They've got this at the moment on their menu. They've got this halloumi salad with lamb. Holy crap, it's so good. And obviously, I love 8 grains. China Kitchen, there's some pretty awesome dumplings. And I like Francesca's. I really like Francesca's.
Where's that?
It's in the same space as the Isaac Theatre Royal, so it's around the corner from Caffeine Lab.
Oh yeah.
They do pastas and pizzas. So good.
Cool.
Really beautiful food.
There's a few little cool spots down there.
There are. There's just a lot happening in Christchurch, and I guess when you're paying for food, it's hard. It's hard to not want to go back to the same places because. Especially if you pay for something and then it's not quite what you expect. I get really angry. I do that when I watch movies, so I get mad.
Right, so you're one of those customers who we go out for dinner and you're like, no, this has been done wrong. Will you say something? Or are you not that kind of person?
I would say something, but I would say it in a constructive way. I wouldn't say it as in, oh my gosh, that meal was so shit. I would say, I enjoyed my meal. I kind of expected this a little bit more. Would you mind passing on this feedback to the chef? I'd really like them to know. I used to work in hospo.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot of weirdos.
Yeah.
A lot of people telling you really awful things about the food that you cook being shit. And like, I am just your maitre d', mate.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything to do with cooking the food.
Yeah, that can be a pain in the butt. Yeah. Oh, cool. I'm buzzy. Okay. And then let's pivot to, instead of food now in Christchurch, let's think things to do. What's on your list if you've got a free Sunday afternoon or if you've got a bit of free time? What are the things that you'd like to do in your spare time? Can be free or it could be a cost involved. Totally up to you.
Sunday afternoon, Sunday session at Astro Lounge.
Oh, nice. Astro Lounge is cool.
Astro Lounge is really awesome. I am still very upset about the fact that they bricked over the petanque. Because you used to be able to do petanque there, and now you can't. Now you can just sit on it and watch people sing, which is also very fun. The art gallery is always good. What else is good in Christchurch? When there's a show on, Showbiz is an amateur theatre group.
Did you go to a show recently? Oh, wait.
Yeah, I did. I went to Wicked.
Oh, yeah?
So the first time I watched Wicked, I was in London. It had a huge sort of animatronic dragon on top of the stage, and it was also my first time actually watching a show in London. So there was that whole, vibe. But the Christchurch production was on par, almost a little bit better.
Wow.
So I'm not being biased because my best friend's in the show. Yeah. I really am not. But that show blew me away. And also because I know what goes on behind the scenes and how much work and effort goes into it. So I was very, very happy. So Showbiz, whenever they're putting on a show, it is definitely worth the tickets. They do matinees. They do discounts for school groups, I think. So I think the next performance is going to be Les Mis, the next musical theatre performance. They've got a few shows coming up.
Cool. Nice.
Definitely. Theatre, movies, walks.
Yep.
Christchurch is amazing for walks. Try not to swear. I swear like a sailor. I'm just like, hold your tongue, Petrina. Be good. Fine. Be good. My mother would be upset with me. No, some really awesome walks. I really liked Haley's Mistake, that Godly Heads walk. And because I live 2 blocks down from Hagley Park, so I'm always around there, like trying to find dogs and babies and stuff. Because I love babies.
You want babies?
No, I love them. I adore babies. I like to carry them and cuddle them and look after them, and then I like to give them back.
Yeah. Just some of the fun moments, and then
I'm the fun auntie. Goodbye. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so I need to tell you about this something that goes on in the middle here. So,
Okay.
what we've got here is just an old school bucket hat of mine, and in there is just a few questions or topics or thoughts that we need to pick out, and then we both kind of answer them. Some of them I know, some of them I have no idea what they are. So
let's do some no idea ones. I'm gonna go brown paper.
Okay. What are we talking?
What is your favorite album at the moment?
Ooh,
tough one.
Okay.
Oh crap! I need to look at my Spotify list. Teeks, Grapefruit Skies.
Explain. I don't know what you're saying.
So Teeks is a
I've never heard
Kiwi
of
artist.
Okay.
He has a voice like velvet. Oh my gosh, I love him so much.
Wow, cool.
He opened for Regan Boneman
Yep.
when he came to New Zealand. He's just got this amazing voice. I think you'll have
I've heard a few of people raving about this guy.
Amazing, so amazing. And then if it's not Teeks, bit of an Ariana Grande fan.
Okay.
I really like her new single.
Yep.
I can't remember what it's called though.
But it's catchy as hell.
It is so catchy, and the video clip is so cool. It's
Yeah,
just so cute and compact and just so
Yeah.
pretty. Like
She is
what
pretty
is it?
compact.
I
Oh,
like
cool.
tiny people.
And for me, oh my goodness, I'm not much of an album person. Like I struggle to like crank a whole album, but and I don't even know names. This is going to be terrible, but albums that I can listen to like start to finish. There's an Aussie guy called Tame Impala. I don't know if you've heard of Tame Impala.
Yes.
And like
I
it's
know
not,
he's
it's
Aussie.
not, yeah,
Cool.
not new, but still like randomly noteworthy because I like can put an album on and like go for it and
listen.
actually enjoy. So, and I watched the doco. Fingers crossed the doco on YouTube was actually legit, but it was like about him and how he literally. I thought it was a whole band. I thought it was a band of amazing psychedelic kind of
I thought
musicians.
it was a band too. Is it just one
But,
person?
he lays down everything. He writes everything, makes it all
Wow.
himself, and then pretty much hires a band to go on tour to play it. But he records and he's like real meticulous and like does it all himself because he knows exactly what he wants. And I was like, what
That's
a
very
crazy, that'd be so stressful and hard and to
Oh.
sit in a room and be like, right, what
But
do
you
I
would know
want?
exactly what you want. You'd be quite a genius.
Yeah.
You'd have lots going on in your head.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting down talking to him.
Oh, I know. It'd be interesting, eh? Okay, let's move on. One more. What's this?
I can talk. I
What?
think you figured this out. I can talk.
No, it's great. Oh, okay, interesting. This is a nutrition, food related
Oh.
question.
Okay.
Is
It is.
sugar bad for you?
Ah.
What are your thoughts on the
I
sugar
think-
debate?
I think everything in moderation. I think sugar is okay. It's not great for you. I think you should cut down on sugar wherever you can, but not completely. If you want to cut it out of your life, go for it. I'm not going to judge you, except you're just going to be harder to feed if I cook for you. But I think to each his own. I personally don't really take much sugar, and because of the whole is sugar bad for you debate, I cut down a little bit more.
Yep.
But I love my ice cream. I love wine. Wine is all sugar. So sugar is okay in moderation, and you do you, boo.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I agree. You've knocked the nail on the head. But like, the more I researched it for a while there, I was like, wait a minute. I think I watched That Sugar film or something, like a film about this guy who, for those who don't know, really, really quickly, he pretty much, he wants to lose weight, and he eats a diet. Actually, he eats a diet that's like officially looks like it's healthy. He'll eat yogurt and he'll eat all these things. He wasn't eating like chocolate, ice cream, fizzy drinks, but somehow he was still getting a bunch. Have you seen it?
I've heard of it, but I don't like to watch documentaries like that. I think they're a little bit too extreme.
Yeah.
Like, I like to watch it just so that I'd be like, oh, this is on the other side. Just thinking, all right, well done.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty much what happens is just like doctors check him. It's kind of like what's that McDonald's one from ages ago?
Super size me.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. He just like balloons out, but not really balloons. It's more like all the internal things that are going on with his organs and these markers that the doctors are testing for. They're like, whoa, things are changing.
Yeah.
And he was eating, 40 grams of sugar a day. And I'm like, it's not even that much. Like, if you have, some things you can eat, man, they like can be laden with sugar. You can sit down and smash a tub of ice cream like easily, and I think everything in moderation as well. Like I was real anti-sugar, and after watching that and reading a few books, I cut down sugar to like, I don't know, 5 or 10 grams a day or something like that, and like a couple of teaspoons throughout food.
Yeah.
And I got like crazy results from it, and my sinuses were really clear after giving me grief and all these good things. But then it kind of like life just gets in the way, and sometimes you feel like a Snickers, and so you're just like, oh, stuff it, I'm going to eat the Snickers. So.
I think the hardest thing is that people can be so unforgiving when they say, I'm going to cut something out, and they really want to stick to it. And that's the biggest problem. It's not the food. It's not what you're cutting out. It's just that mentality. And I think that's why a lot of people do suffer from eating disorders as well. And because it's what society says, you need to look a certain way, you need to do this and that. And you think that if you cut out a whole food group, it'll be good for you. It might work for you. But as long as you don't punish yourself for doing it and just keep a clear head, as long as you look after yourself mentally, I think that's all right. Because it's so easy to get like stuck in that mindset where you need to exercise, you need to do this, you need to... Don't get me started.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cool. I had one more. I had a question for you.
Yes.
Done. But I was too busy listening. Oh, yes, that's it. We were talking just before we started recording, and you mentioned something about how you really, really like Facebook. You're a Facebook fan, and I don't come across Facebook fans very often. So, talk to me about your obsession with Facebook.
I'm not exactly obsessed with Facebook. I genuinely prefer...
You prefer it as a platform?
No, I prefer Instagram as a platform.
Okay.
Instagram and Snapchat. I like Facebook, but I've personally gone off it a lot because, well, I don't know. I'm not really that much of a Facebook fan.
Shot in the foot there. Yeah,
that's
cool.
Well, I did actually say that, but then I realised I meant... I find people off Instagram and then I check out their Facebook because sometimes the content is different, which is good because you do need separate content for both platforms. I really believe that anyway. Yeah. And you get a little bit more. I don't know whether engagement on Facebook is better, but there's something about Facebook that still kind of leaves it in that mix where you can't ignore it. But definitely prefer Instagram. It's Instagram. Okay, Instagram seems more impersonal. Unless you slide into someone's DMs creep over here.
Are you talking about me?
No, creep. I'm talking about creep over here. Sliding into people's DMs. Well,
that's great. That's good. And I think it's amazing how you can literally be like, I want to directly respond to that content. And
hello,
you can
Kanye West, please.
Yeah, but you can literally do that if you want to. The funny thing is like, and that's why I've done that and just been like randomly commented on things or DM'd someone, and then sometimes they actually like, and reply. And you're
that's
like,
how we
wait,
met.
what? Yeah. And I was like, what? That's so cool. And it's fun to do. You mentioned Snapchat. Are you on there and how often are you using it? Because I've discussed with a few guests about that. Oh, yeah?
Every day.
But how do you manage that? Like, I struggle to go, take something for Snapchat, take something for Instagram stories.
I actually take my time. I'll do a Snapchat and it'll be quite different from both. Or sometimes I'm a bit cheeky and I'll do it one on one and then I'll just share it on the other. Yeah. But it's different audience on Snapchat. So Snapchat is quite impersonal as well, whereas I think Instagram is a little bit more personal. And also I do really stupid things all the time. Like fall over and try to take the perfect boomerang and then just spill water all over myself. That's the story of my life. So you know what, if you can't have some fun with your life or your social media, but it's not all real, obviously. Like I said in one of my last posts that we were having a laugh about, it took me God knows this whole bottle to just get the perfect boomy, which wasn't even perfect. I could have done better.
Great. No, it was good.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I could have done better, but I was like, oh God, I'm so full. Like, I can't drink any more water.
I need to go to the toilet. Yeah, but I love that about you. That's what I love. Like when I see your content, it is like, I see the character there, and I see like but I see you. Like I see your personality and your persona comes out instead of like you could easily go down the road of like, boom,
perfect.
You've got your thing, and you nailed it in the one take, and we don't hear about the other 2,000. And it's like,
hell no.
It's quite cool that you like that you reveal that, and that's what sometimes even with my stuff, I'm kind of like revealing behind the because lots of the influencers out there in New Zealand are like they have this curtain up of like it's just helicopter rides.
You're just an everyman's person, and that's the part of social media. It's social. It's not, I'm a step up above you. I'm really famous. Look at me. That'd be great. Obviously, I'd love to become #InstaFamous. So I told you about that thing that I was doing, but the Face of Taylor competition.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. How's that going?
I don't.
Fill the people in before we skip randomly. What is going on here?
Okay, so there's a New Zealand skincare brand called Taylor Skincare, and they are so amazing. I love them.
Okay, all right.
They genuinely it's vegan. It's New Zealand made.
Yep.
And so they're looking for a new face, such an ambassador. So one day I was just like feeling really crap. So I had a death in the family recently, and I was just feeling really shit about myself. And I was like, what can I do? And I saw that coming out. I was like, oh, fuck it. Let's go for it. Self-nominate. And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling real good. And then I told a few people, and they're like, okay, we're going to nominate you. And then, like, I saw a couple of more, like, properly Insta-famous people were getting on board, and, like, I want to win.
Yeah.
Now I want to fucking win.
Yeah.
So I launched a little bit of a tiny campaign. So you got on board.
Good
you
on ya,
gave me a good shout out.
Yeah.
And then Taylor actually messaged me saying, hey, we've had a lot of people nominate you and stuff. You're doing really well. Hope this works out. And then just kind of fueled that fire a little bit. So nominate me for a Face of Taylor.
When does that end? When can
This Sunday. So it ends this Sunday.
Cool.
And
good on you.
I've been getting Tinder dates to nominate me too. You've got to work it. Single girl talking to all these boys, and you're like telling them about yourself, and
you're like, hey, while you're there on your phone.
So I just did this, and I'd really like to win. So go ahead and nominate me. And the nomination process is not simple. You actually have to go on there, and if you did nominate me, you would know this.
Yeah. That's what I was like.
You had to
go. I like it when it's just like click, click.
No,
done.
it's not a click, click. You actually have to say something about me and how I embody like
That's why I was so
natural
confused.
beauty.
I was like, how do I nominate? Oh wait, okay.
So it's not just a click, click. So you actually had to say something nice. It's great. You go first.
So you're like, getting the person next to you to be like, what are you writing about me?
Even some of my closest friends are like, oh, why is it so hard?
Yeah.
It's because you love me. And when I become Insta famous, you can become Insta famous by default. And then I can add #model to like my CV, and then we can just be rich, just living the Insta dream.
Yeah. Go on.
Stuff like that, just revealing all my deepest eyes.
Well, while we're here giving you a massive shout out, as we wrap up, can you tell us a little bit about, if people want to find out more about you or see what you're up to, or is there anyone that you want to shout out, anything you want to plug, now's the time. Go for it.
Let's keep it about me.
Yeah.
If you want to find out more about me, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Petrina Chai, PetrinaChai, because people cannot spell Petrina. That's pretty much it. Snapchat is Pchai, Pchai. I update that almost every day.
Great, and she responds to DMs, so really,
I do slide into my DMs.
Really get in there, yeah.
Single. No, serious.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I like long walks on the beach and a food.
Yeah.
Wine.
Yeah, they know a lot about you. If someone's sliding into your DMs, then just be like, listen to this podcast, and you'll know a little bit more.
And then if you're still interested,
and they have the specific bottle of wine that you talked about, and like,
I should just add the link onto my Tinder profile and just be like,
listen to this before you even try,
or just swipe left.
Yeah, go. All right, thanks for coming in.
It was good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Massive thanks for tuning in for this episode of the Quality Antics podcast. If you want to catch up with us or send us a question for the hat, just hit me up at Quality Antics on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, all of the social pipes, or send us an email at qualityanticspodcast@gmail.com. Have a good one.